appreciates you. And I mean, appreciates, therefore making you more. You go up in value. All the little things that are still not quite formed in yourself that Bert could kind of see. And in a way, when he was acting with you, he would not only act, when they say in the moment, he was acting in the moments yet to come.
Bert Young is as tough as they get, a man who has great compassion and great violence. He is a man who can cry easily and explode with volcanic rage. So he has...
If an acting background is a prerequisite, read no further. Although if you're still with me, acting done, life credits plenty. A, first assault conviction. B, first baby born. C, first this, that. Very flippant. And at the end I said, seriously, Lee, I don't know if acting has anything for me or vice versa, but I'm treading water. See me. So he called me up, he brought me over to his apartment in Central Park West. He says, I don't think you could be an actor. So I got up to go. He says, sit down. He says, I never saw a man with such tension in his face here. He says, but I feel you're an emotional library. He says, would you work with me? And I never stopped.
We never considered anyone else for the part of Paulie but Bert Young. And when we read the script, we thought he was a natural for the part and never offered it to anyone but Bert.
Paulie was everybody. I took him to extreme places, but he was everybody. He was sort of the vermouth on my collar, on my thing. In fact, Talia says, what the hell, you smell so goddamn funny. But I would do things like that. And I made the physicality. I had an accountant at that time that was very arthritic. And he would walk, he couldn't turn his neck. He would, every time he wanted to look, the whole body would move.
God, he was great. Boy, that's a force. That was a force. And his approach to language. And you know, you think, what did I just meet here? And then you realize as he entered space itself, he was like very graceful. So he was a very interesting contradiction. Thank God.
You're talking about a guy, in my opinion, who, you know, when you talk about actors committing to roles, I don't think anybody committed as much as Bert did. You know, you've got a character who really, the character, has such unattractive qualities about him. And Bert humanized this guy and made this guy a part of every man in a way. You know, we're all slobs in our own way, you know? We're all these despicable characters, you know? We all have this dark side.
He did show me how to punch a shoulder. I won't do it to you because I could hurt you. But, you know, you gotta go like this and then turn. Who knew that?
As a fighter, the narcotic of being a fighter is once in a while, for me, I never lost a pro fight, but once in a while, for me, you gotta find things to make you breathe under duress. And that's what you need as an actor.
This ain't no charity case. Get out of my house.
At least you don't get punched in the face as an actor, but you could get punched in the heart when you leave a set or a stage and not do honest work.
No friend no more. Get out of my house, I just said.
Don't talk to him like that.
Both of you get out of my house.
Yo, it's cold outside, Paulie. This explosive scene when he pulls the baseball bat out and destroys everything in his house of value because he realizes he's going to be left alone.
Come on! I'll break both your arms so they don't work for you.
It was ridiculous, it was outrageous, it was amazing, it was beautiful. Bert looks for the contradiction in the language, in the moment, and in the physical application with his own body and with how he's going to handle a prop.
That's right, I'm not good enough to meet with Gaza.
The bat was Gary. So Bert looks for that, and then he looks for discovery. So that in the moment of doing one of these things, he's not even sure why he's doing it. And so then you have a moment where he makes that discovery, and it's usually a vulnerable moment.
Man, I even give you my sister too. I did we say that? I'm a pig.
I was gonna wreak havoc. And John's, no, Bert. One swing. Then another swing. I said, John, I'm cooking. I can't do that. I can't. That's like you're giving me a line reading. I said, I can't. Bert, try it.
You loser! I don't get married because of you. You can't live by yourself. I put you two together and you forget it. You owe me. You owe me. Why do I owe you? You're supposed to be good to me. Why do I owe you, Polly?
It was so painful to me. First of all, I was embarrassed with the kind of violence in front of everybody. But it worked. That's where John became my director and friend. Because
I take care of you, Paulie. I don't owe you nothing. And you made me feel like a loser. I'm
Tus tráilers, visita mi canal.
To have her walk out of that cocoon from this, this caterpillar to this butterfly and saying, hey, man, I'm freeing myself.
She's dusty. I can't hold me no more.
Rocky grabs him, but there's a compassion. He feels Paulie's desperation, and you see this man come from a drunken state to towering rage to a broken child on the couch. I mean, how much better can it get? It can't get much better.
You had to be there to appreciate the scene. I feel like I was honored to be present when they did that scene. It was so bloody real. And they did it many times. It was real and it was scary. Burt Young was just so incredible. The intensity that he brought to it went far beyond, well, I think it was clearly captured in the scene. I've heard that the museum steps going to the library where the statue of Rocky was placed was the second most popular tourist destination in the city of Philadelphia after the Liberty Bell. Now, I'm not sure that I feel there's the right priorities here, because Philadelphia has lots of historical locations, but it seems that that's the way it is. Kids, adults are still running up those steps and want to be Rockies for a few moments of their life.
We had tried to get the producers to spring for the painting of those big posters at either end of the arena, the guys in their fighting poses. So finally they said okay, and we gave them the Polaroids of the fighters, and the guy painted the things, and Sylvester said, they had got the wrong trunks on me. Well, he wasn't wearing the trunks that he was going to wear in the fight in the Polaroid. Nobody told the artist about that, so we didn't have the money or the time to go and repaint this thing. So I said, well, maybe the promoter shows up, and Rocky says, hey, Mr. Juergens.
Mr. Juergens, the poster's wrong.
What do you mean?
Well, I'm wearing white pants with a red stripe.
It doesn't really matter, does it? I'm sure you're gonna give us a great show.
Now, we feel more sympathy for Rocky, because nobody cares about any of that sort of stuff. So we were constantly tweaking this story to its advantage, I think.
Going into that house, laying on that bed, he's going to admit that he cannot win under any situation. He just doesn't have it. He's incredibly honest with himself.
Can't do it.
Without this scene, I don't think the movie would have accomplished even half of what it set out to accomplish, which is to show that a man given an opportunity or a woman given an opportunity to express themselves fully, even though they know that they're going to be defeated, but in that defeat, there can be glory.
I want to know for the first time in my life, see? That I weren't just another bum from the neighborhood.
The opportunity to rise or fail on their own abilities, just given the chance. Carl Weathers is a phenom. He can act, he has an amazing body, and he has an extraordinary athletic ability, and he brought it all together. We saw many people for Apollo Creed, professional, non-professional, everything, and no one could put it together. You had some people with a body, some people could act, some people had no bodies, but he literally was a last-second choice, and it was a miraculous choice because that character is indelible.
You really had to make it real, and again, partner Sylvester so that this Cinderella part of...
They assured United Artists that we'd pick them up. In fact, after they saw the film and agreed that it would be relatively successful, no one ever came to us and asked us for anything. We were committed to making this picture with Stallone. There was never any question about that.
The first thing you have with these two producers is an enormous kind of courage, an intravenous feeding of that courage until Sylvester...
And a hair of destruction.
In order for the boxing to look real, I'm a big believer in practice, in rehearsal. So when Carl Weathers and Sylvester first got into the ring at this little gym in Santa Monica, they started bouncing around and saying, I'll do this and I'll do that, and I realized that we're going to be there forever. So I suggested to Sylvester, I said, why don't you go home and write this thing out? Lefts and rights, he falls down, whatever it is, write it out. And then bring it back, and we'll learn that.
Stallone comes in the morning, and he has 3 pages in longhand.
With a plan, we went in the gym, we trained, worked the choreography out. Man, about, I'd say a minute and 45 seconds, I'm hardly able to keep my arms up.
And we did it over and over and over again. And I was shooting 8mm in those days, and I'd show them the footage to show them how terrible they were, and it inspired them to get better.
We were in Discovery, so we're 2 young guys who in our 20s, and we're just just going crazy all day long, man. 8 hours a day, 8 hours a day in the ring for an entire week.
There's nothing worse than getting in there and say, okay, not knowing where the punches are coming from. That way you can't act. There's a certain ebb and flow, and if you're concerned about like the fear and you're flinching and not knowing what is coming next, then you really can't be relaxed in the ring.
Every once in a while, Sylvester would say, Bert, how did I do that? You did fine. Don't keep your legs so wide. You wouldn't be able to reach him with your left. And that's the only advice I ever gave him about the fight scene.
We spent so much time in there choreographing every punch that if we had to do it over and over and over again, we could. And it became kind of like this violent dance.
And we're in a sports arena, and it's a big, cold, empty place, with a few people planted here and a few people planted there. It looked like background, and most of it dark, so you wouldn't see nobody was there. It was really grueling, and the amount of time we trained for it kind of got us in the right kind of shape. And both of us are very athletic, Sly and I, and with these tremendous athletic egos. And any great athlete never wants to look bad. You always want to look good. You're a conqueror, man. You're another gladiator, and you want to get out there and you want to slay the dragon or slay the other gladiator. And that's what the whole thing was about, And so we carried that with us into the ring and carried it in as actors and carried it in as very physical actors. And, that's why I think it came off to be what it was also. It looked real because a lot of the times we were being very competitive, Sly does not shirk competition at all. He likes it, I think. He welcomes it, bring me more, bring me more. And I was willing to bring it, you know. So we had a lot of fun, but it was, you know, at the end of that, man, you are spent. There wasn't anything left.
Right to the head, to the body, to the head. Elbow is tagging champion right on the kisser. And the referee comes in. They're ready to keep going. Look at that. Hey, come on. Back to your corner.
Put your jump out on his corner.
Come on, quick. Hey, this is going to be a tough one.
I'm extremely sensitive to music because here we all made this piece, and the last element in is generally the composer. And boy, they could make or break it at that point. Make or break it. A million times that happens. And again, the forces were collaborating with us, and Bill Conte just understood the role. And boy, it all sort of tumbled out of him musically. But just right, just right.
He was right virtually all the time. He just never missed. Once again, he was a guy that was born to do this film. In a way, I don't want to sound presumptuous about her and myself, but maybe we all were. Maybe that was just the way it had to be for Rocky to be made.
That theme resonates for people. They play that. It immediately has a connection to something that is deeper than just a movie theme, you know. Bill Conte nailed it, man, you know. Everybody in that thing just managed to deliver something that was a cut above, and that had meaning for and significance for people.
Down, stay down. Follow, launching along with his arms in the air.
I can't say that we expected this when we made the movie. We never dreamed that it was going to become the icon it has become.
It happens to have some very significant themes that have meaning beyond just entertainment. If it didn't, there wouldn't be that many people who would say, you know, that movie changed my life.
It changed people's lives in that way. So how do you take that away? How do you top that? You can't.
I was particularly touched, especially the ending, that he lost the fight. And I felt that was such an important element, somehow for me and maybe for the times as well, that one can be heroic, have courage, and be a winner without literally winning the so-called battle. Winner in your heart.
What I had to play with her every second was that he was it. He was everything. He was civilization. And so I wanted it to get that scale. In the end of that sort of beating and spiritual discovery, he still wants her, and she has got to get to him. He was fighting for courage and humanity and dignity and God. So it was winning, and he knew, and the audience knew. That's the when you win.